This video is a summary of a whole series of videos that I have in production to answer the daunting question of how to make money as a real estate licensee in the state of California, or actually anywhere in the country. I am a living, breathing real estate broker here in California and in the state of Nevada, and I operate a mortgage company licensed through the NMLS system, as well as hold an MLO license through the NMLS system. I was first licensed back in 1976, right after college. I had a brief stint where I did not do anything for 3 years while I was in law school. Came out of law school, started transacting all sorts of real estate related transactions because I love real estate, all phases of it. I can't get enough of it. Whenever I'm doing something else, I'm always thinking about real estate. So it's in my blood. I love it so much that I think I need to give back a little bit on how to make yourself successful in this business. The following series of videos is inspired based upon my experience over the 42 plus years that I have been active in the business, and they're made with the purpose of cutting down the period of time that you have to, the recent licensee or the new licensee has, in order to make money. Because what the brokers out there who you go and hang your license with won't tell you is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 85% of all licensees who come to them and hang their license with a broker will fail. They will not be able to succeed. They will starve to death on the vine, and many of them just simply don't know where to start on day one when they get the license. And I'm going to go through a series of 16 videos where I start with the pre-licensing environment all the way to the end where you're successful, and how to discipline your time and your earnings in order to maximize your future success. So again, these videos are not pie in the sky. They're all based upon my experience. Now the other thing I have to address is this comes from the grumpy old broker. I have been referred to by many of my colleagues, many of the people I deal with, as the grumpy old broker, because over the years I have become disillusioned with the quality of the competence of the real estate licensees that I'm having to deal with on a daily basis. And that includes also their brokers, or in many cases with the franchise operations, their so-called managers. I don't pull any punches any longer. I have very little patience with the competence levels, and I let them know that I won't participate in how they want to transact business. I only do it one way, and that's the right way. And if you don't want to do it the right way, you need to go elsewhere. And I let them know that. And so everybody calls me grumpy. I'm not grumpy. I just have at least a minimum standard of competency is all I'm asking for. So from that perspective, that's why this series is called the Grumpy Old Broker series on how to succeed in real estate. So I have over 3,300 actual real estate transactions under my belt, and I will go into further details how we determine transactions, but that is not specifically 3,300 homes, because I do a whole plethora of real estate transactions, from buying, selling of residential real estate. I also perform property management of residential real estate. I am a loan broker as well. I arrange financing for real estate. I also sell commercial properties. I lease commercial properties. So when I talk about 3,300 transactions, I gather each one of those together to give me the plethora of my experience. And it's based upon that I come forward now and kind of tell you how to get there much quicker than you'll have to suffer through most of the brokerage training programs. So because of that frustration and the lack of competency generally. Now, I can't say that for everybody. There are some very smart people in the real estate industry. Don't get me wrong. There are some very, very, very competent people, and it's an absolute joy to transact business with them. But I can tell you 90% of the people do not fall into that category. So that's the reason why I decided to go ahead and put these videos together. And this is nothing more than an introduction to what those videos will be. So I'm making the videos, and you should be watching. And who actually asked the question? Who should be watching these videos? Well, if you want to succeed in any facet of the real estate business, you need to watch these videos. You will get something out of them. You'll be able to take something and apply it and actually make a difference. If you need direct guidance on where to start and be successful as a real estate licensee, you need to definitely watch these videos. I'll tell you day to day, daily, what you should be doing, what your expectations for success will be, and the like. And more importantly, I'm going to outline what you should not be doing. Don't waste what you should not waste your time on, so that you can get to making money sooner rather than later. And most importantly, I'm going to give you the guidance, and if you follow through, at least nominally, at least halfway through what I'm asking you to do, you'll gain a competency and a professional level of competency that will far exceed the rest of the industry, and you will distinguish yourself because you're going to have a greater understanding of this whole process of transacting real estate. And so you're going to find also that I am not, and very rarely will refer to licensees as real estate salespersons, because I very distinctly and will not consider somebody a seller of real estate or salesperson of real estate. But I do think that they are transactional experts on how to transact the sale, the purchase and sale of real estate. So I call you, I refer to you as real estate transaction folks and not salespeople, because I believe wholeheartedly that the property sells itself based upon its condition, price, and its location. And we're going to learn those concepts and why I think it's not just location, 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 which is an old concept, of course, we all learned many years ago. And I will show you my marketing methodology. It has nothing to do with selling the property. It is putting the property type under the nose of those who are seeking that type of property in that location and in that price range. But we'll get into that in one of the later videos. So those who will succeed, find success on these videos are the person contemplating entering the real estate industry, those who have recently got their license and need a starting point, and those who have had their license and can't find any traction in the industry because it's very, very difficult. And I'm going to give you a caveat right up front. If you are one of the folks who have a license and you can't quite seem to get it going, I think I can tell you with a great amount of confidence that the first thing you should do is not listen to a single person in the industry. Any of your colleagues that are salespersons, don't believe a word they say. I wouldn't believe a word your broker says. I wouldn't believe anybody in this industry of what they do, how they do, and their success levels, because you're going to find that every single person that in the real estate industry all have the same basic capability. They're all licensed to do the same thing. So the only thing that differentiates one from the other is your knowledge base and your competency and how you market, how you get that business. So, and that's the biggest problem, is differentiating yourself from the rest of the crowd. And honesty and a good marketing plan is one of those ways to do it. So let me get through the various videos that we're going to present here. So the first video is, I entitled it the pre-license phase, and that's merely we're going to talk about in that particular video who is likely to succeed, who wants to be a real estate agent, what to expect, what schooling you need, and I go through a whole series of comparisons between other professions that let's drop back 1 second. One of the problems I believe in the real estate industry in this business is the ease of entry into the business is very simple. You go and you take an exam, you pay a couple $100 to your state, and you get a license. Well, nobody is really competent at that point to transact real estate for people who are selling or buying their largest asset in their entire for their family, and many of them, and the older folks, are their retirement fund assets. So you need to be competent in what you're doing. So in the first video, I talk about the pre-licensing phase and how to get to the point of nominal and minimal competency beyond the real estate school that you're going to attend. Then the next video 2 is what the heck should a new licensee be doing? Where should they be looking for business? How do they make that decision for the broker? What do they need to be doing to prepare for their first transaction, so that when they get there, it's not a major event. It's just something that should flow naturally. And then the third one is the business consideration you should be aware of as a new licensee, that the brokers will certainly make it very clear to you that you are on your own, that you are an independent contractor. They are not responsible for you. You are on your own. Your success is based entirely upon you and not the broker. And consequently, that's one of the problems of this industry now, is the dilemma between the independent contractor and the employee relationship. Brokers are making it very clear that they want to make sure that they enforce that independent contractor relationship versus an employee relationship, and consequently their ability to direct you is very, very minimal, if at all now. So the business considerations are very, very important, and you have to understand how to operate as an independent business, because you're now the CEO, you're the finance person, you're sales, you're marketing, you're the operations, you do everything, and you need to be able to address all of those various facets of the business. And then the fourth video talks about the broker selection dilemma. Probably the most important decision a new licensee will have is where to put that license. Now, that can make you or break you, and I will go through the dilemma between whether to go with a large franchise operation or go with a smaller boutique or something in between. And we'll review the various pros and cons for each. I can tell you from a full disclosure standpoint, I operate a small boutique brokerage, so I'm a little bit biased about that model versus the large franchise where there's no broker around to mentor you, other than a corporate mentor, and everything they do is via some video training module that nobody can really relate to if you don't have any experience at it. So the fifth, let's go to the fifth video, is old school marketing. Basically, there I'm telling you how these guys, the other brokers, want you to market your new business. And what it amounts to is it's busy work for them. They feel they're obligated to have you go through a learning curve through this old school marketing, and I don't think it's productive whatsoever. And I would definitely encourage that you not even participate in it. And we'll give you an alternative to the old school and tell you the reasons why you should take alternative methods to the, especially the franchise brokerage marketing methods. And then the sixth video, I will go through and talk about the Grumpy's suggested marketing path and how we're different in how we market real estate. I can tell you we're significantly different. We do not follow the same path that the big guys do, because they have a different motivation behind their sales model than the smaller guy. We have to perform. We have to earn revenue. We have to keep things going. And they work off a numbers game where rather than have 5 or 10 or 20 agents operating and being successful, they might have 300, 500, or 600 that will have 30 people successful, and everybody else is just there holding their license with the hope and wish that they might do a transaction. That's the difference between the models, and I guess it's not for me. It's not for me the way they operate. So then in the seventh video, I go through and I talk about the grumpy way of marketing, and we talk about, I break everything down into projects, and I market as a project. And we'll talk in great detail about what I refer to as 10 in 4 projects. And what that means is we put together small 4-month marketing plans in order to reap out 10 commissionable events. So if in 4 months you can't get 10, and we never had less than 10, so it would be difficult to do that, you're going to be making money. So you repeat that every 4 months. So theoretically, you should have a minimum of 30 commissionable events over the year. I'm going to show you how to circumvent how that whole franchise marketing operation into the 10 and 4 program, and I can show you empirical data, and based on that empirical data, it may not even take you 4 months to get the 10. And in my case, I do 10 in 3 months because I'm able to accelerate most of everything that the new licensee cannot. So I do it 4 times a year versus the new licensees and lesser experience can do it 3 times per year. And what you'll find is many times that the 10 commissionable events will definitely exceed 10. Sometimes it gives to 15 to even 20 events in that 4 months. So you hit the ground running, and you start making money as opposed to sitting there making phone calls to people who won't answer your phone or will be upset with you when you do. So then the 8th video is rather important because it's now answering the question, how do you obtain new listings as a new licensee? Now, many of the marketing techniques I operate go to listing of real estate, and I believe that's the mother lode of the real estate transaction business. And because what happens is the buyers, you get buyer opportunities as a result of that, because you have people attempting to buy the property you have listed. But more importantly, it gives you the opportunity to get a bona fide transaction going and make some money, as opposed to relying on the whims of most of the buyers out there. So anyway, I talk about how do you go about obtaining them, and how to differentiate yourself from the competition in those listing presentations. Very important video. The next one is, what are the sources of potential listing operations or listing contracts, and how to go about identifying those listing opportunities. That's probably my copyright and proprietary interest that I will share with you. I have a unique way of doing it. I follow some of the guidelines, but I put a little spin on each one of them in order to get the business. And then on the 10th video, we talk about methods to market for real estate listings, and we talk about what the GREPI methods are used. And more importantly, once you have identified those people, which of the group are more likely to list with you versus not, and what are the criteria that I use to select those? And I prioritize every potential listing opportunity, and I'll show you the priority and based upon my history of who makes the actual decision and why they're making that decision to list or sell their real estate. So then we talk about, once you identified the listings, who's most likely to transact, then we talk about the listing presentation itself. And here is where the rubber meets the road. I will show you how to make that listing presentation so that you win that presentation. I can tell you, knock on wood, that I get just about every presentation I make a presentation to. And I enjoy going there after a potential listing has interviewed all the franchise operations, because I get to sit there with the stack of all their folders of their from each one of the companies. That the only thing that distinguishes one company from the next is the color of the folder, because it's kind of interesting, because the sellers will give me the copies of them, and you open them up, and they are the exact same information presented in the exact same way, company to company to company. So nothing distinguishes each of those companies from one another. So when you come in as a grumpy old broker with those techniques, you stand out like a beacon. And the next thing you'll find out is the seller will ask when can they get the listing signed, when can they get the sign up and get selling. So that's where you want to be. But what's interesting is the only difference between those presentations is the color of the envelope. So then we talk about professional credibility. An entire video on professional credibility and how the new licensee needs to have credibility in order to get that listing. And I'm going to show you how to do it, how to gain it. So even though you may have got your license yesterday, I can show you a methodology for you to gain credibility with the in the listing presentation with that seller. And part of that is then comes to video 13, answers the question how to overcome the lack of experience as a new licensee, and I have a grumpy solution to that. I've been using it tried and true for many years, and it works well for those who don't have any experience, either license experience or transaction experience or any other experience in the real estate industry. So then we go to 14th, and how do you overcome the lack of transactional experience? And again, we have a solution that goes to answer that problem and get you and answers it and get you some credibility on your transactional history. And then the 15th is how can you partner with a grumpy old broker to make money now? So here's where I'm a little bit different. As a boutique real estate broker, I'm able to take my licensees or take any other licensee pursuant to an agreement and assist them in getting that listing. By partnering together, teaming together, and basically they're leveraging my experience, my knowledge, my education, my transactional experience, and by teaming with me, now you're on a team that has some credibility, and you will then to differentiate yourself from all the other licensees, and I'm going to show you a way to do that. So, and then the 16th, we talk about a whole series of topics, along with, more importantly, I'm going to give you the detailed step by step presentation of when you get your real estate license or just prior to it, what you should be doing every single day once you get the license, every single day to establish the disciplines necessary to become a credible professional in the marketing of real estate. So with those, stay tuned for the future videos. I appreciate you listening, and if anybody has any questions, I will answer them as quickly as possible. If you have any comments, comment. If you like, I guess you're supposed to like it, comment, or subscribe to the channel. All of them or one of them, some part of them, whatever. If you have a problem with what I'm telling you, I really don't care. This is intended to be a positive series to get people to be successful. If you have a problem with what you're doing right now, I don't want to hear about your problems. If you want some help, I'll help you. I'll give you whatever assistance I can give you based upon the experience I have. I think there's an email or email address on the at the bottom of this video, and you can give me an email, and I'll actually give you an answer. If you want to be snarky, don't expect anything back, because I really don't care about your snarky comments. You want to be successful, I'm on your team. So I've watched too many people fail in this business, and there's really no reason why you should ever fail. It's a wonderful business to be in. You make tremendous amounts of money. You have a lot of free time once you get to a point in your business where you can forecast your business. And I'm going to we'll get to that video where you're able to, because of the 10 and 4 program, you'll be able to forecast the level of business that you want. If you want more business than 10 to 15 to 20 transactions in 4 months, you can do it. I can show you how you can scale your business. If you don't understand what that means, we'll talk about it later. But you can scale your business up and down from there. If you don't have a whole lot of money, I think you have the 10 and 4 is probably your least expensive pathway to earning commissions and staying in the business. Quite frankly, if somebody I know and love asked me how to get into the business and what to do, I would tell them to follow exactly what I'm telling you, because you're not going to be successful following the old tried and true methods, because this business is so competitive that you can't really rely on anybody else. You have to rely on yourself. But if yourself, you don't have the experience and the transactional knowledge or the history or the experience, you're going to fail. So I want you to overcome that. And so anyway, give me an email if you have any comments. If there's anything I can answer for you, I will do so. Look forward to the other videos coming out. I have them all outlined. I've started a couple of them, so they should be coming out in probably every 3 days or so for the next couple of weeks. And then I suspect people will have more questions, and I will provide video updates and answers. If I get a lot of questions or emails, I might just put some intermediate videos out there to answer just those questions, so that we can get a more general response out to everybody, so I don't have to do it 200 times. But anyway, I want everybody to be successful in the business. I appreciate you watching my video, and again, thank you very much from the Grumpy Old Broker. Thank you.